We are back. Okay, here we go. I need some more light. It's getting ready to rain. Welcome back. Third time is a charm. Thank you, Crystal, for troubleshooting with me. And you guys can hear me. Yep. Great. Third time is going to be a charm. I'm going to chat her. Hey, RT. Perfect. Thank you. Great. So let me know if we. Okay, thank you that y'all can hear me. I'm chatting her now. I appreciate y'all hanging in there. Yes, grace for the journey, indeed. Hey, Pretty G. I have been looking forward to this conversation like all month because I truly, truly love this book. And so that's why I'm so anxious for technology to work out in our favor. Okay, there she is. Perfect. Okay, y'all keep y'all fingers crossed. Thank you for setting time aside for this. Say something. I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Ah, yes, I can hear you.
Oh my God.
It's
I was
okay.
oh my God, I am so sorry. I'm actually at my niece's place. And so I had found I didn't know what was going on. So I went up to her. She said I should use my earpods.
Oh, okay.
Um, but if we can hear each other, I
I
don't
can hear you fine.
okay. Woo.
Okay. So out in the audience, can you guys hear and see us? Okay, I feel like my phone's getting dark. It's the shadows going down. Is everything okay on you guys' end? Okay, I'm getting a yes. They can hear everyone.
Let me see if this will work. I was trying
Okay,
to see. I
I
can
can hear
still
you.
hear you.
Yes, got you.
Can everybody still hear me?
Yes,
Okay, we're good.
perfect. Yay! I'm so excited. I absolutely could not wait for this conversation with you. And so I'm going to do a quick
And I'm
intro.
so sorry.
It's okay.
I
Listen,
did warn you.
this is
I
book
told
club
you I
meeting.
was technical. I told you I was technically challenged.
It's okay. It is okay because we're just happy to have you here to talk about your amazing, amazing book. This is our March book club meeting, book chat, and our spine
Okay.
month this month was The Personal Librarian by Marie
Okay.
Benedict and Victoria Christopher Murray, who is here with us today. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm so happy to
Um,
be here. I really am happy to be here.
I like when you said yes, I was like over the moon about it because two
Oh,
things
of
we have in
course.
common. We both are in the Washington, D.C. metro area,
Yes.
and we both are Delta Sigma Theta sorors.
Yes,
Yes, we.
definitely. So it was going to be, of course, it was not even a thought.
I mean, thank you so much. This book was it was on my top 10 for last year. And it was my
Oh,
favorite historical fiction read. I did a top 10 countdown at the end of the year with another bookstagram, a melanated reader, and your book was on my top 10. I just, it's everything that I love about historical fiction. Everything.
oh, thank you.
I
Thank
learned something that I
you.
did not know. I knew nothing about Belle de Costa Green. I mean, I never even heard of her. And so before we get started, I just want you to tell the folks a little bit about you. Because I mean,
Okay.
you have like over 1 million books in print. Is that what it is?
Yes, yes. It's actually now because of this book, we're approaching 2 million very quickly. 2 million books in print.
That is
But
amazing.
Well, not when you think that about that. I've been writing for 20 years.
Okay, and
You
that's what I
know?
want to talk about. I want you to tell the folks about you, and
Yeah.
then I really want to know because you have a quote on your website, and it
Hmm.
says, "I always knew I would become an author, even as I was taking an unlikely path to that destination." So I want to talk
I
about
always
that
did.
unlikely path, but I also want you to tell us about you first.
Yeah, and I guess I am part of that unlikely path because I always knew I was going to be a writer. I'm not kidding. When you're a little kid and you want to be when you grow up, I wanted to be an author. That's all I ever wanted to do. In fact, I wrote my very first piece when I was 7 years old.
Oh wow!
And I call it I say it was a masterpiece. And the only reason I know it was a masterpiece was because I plagiarized all
Right.
the masterpieces. It was called Betty and the Witch, and it was about a little girl who wore a school uniform that was red and it had a red hood. And she had three bears for brothers, three pigs were her sisters. And next door, there were seven little people.
Oh
But
wow!
I wrote, yep. So it was everything I knew as a 7 year old. But what was so interesting was I gave it to my mom first, and then I gave it to my teacher, and we ended up with the entire second grade performing it as a play.
Oh wow! That's amazing.
And I mean, I talked to my mom about this maybe about 5 or 10 years ago, and I was telling my mother, I really wish I could find that teacher.
Yeah.
I really wish I could find Mrs. Asness. And my mother was like, well, maybe she does know, because wouldn't it be amazing for her to see what she inspired in that little girl?
Right.
But the only thing is, as I was growing up, I never saw anybody like me in the books.
Hmm.
And so the older I got, the more I still wanted to be a writer, but didn't have any idea how I could do it responsibly. You know how
Right.
you're supposed to grow up and you do what you're supposed to do?
Hmm.
And so I ended up, the only adjective I ever heard in front of the word writer was starving. And I wasn't interested in being a starving anything.
Anything. Right.
Anything. It didn't matter, even if it was a thing I wanted to do my whole life. So I didn't, even though I still wanted to do it and I had it in my head that I was going to do it, I took an unlikely path. I always say that when you're 18, you do what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
And then when you turn 40, you do what you want to do.
Absolutely. I agree
And
wholeheartedly.
and yeah, so at 18, ended up going to Hampton, majoring in communication disorders. Then I ended up going to get my graduate degree from New York University Stern. My parents are really big on education and supported
Hmm.
all of that. But I never ever lost that dream to write.
Because
And
but you did something else prior to that, didn't you? After
I
you.
did a lot of things. After I got my MBA, I worked in corporate America for 10 years. And
Hmm.
then I had my own business with a financial services company called Aegon USA, Bankers United. And but there was one person who was always in my corner. Well, everybody, my parents, my sisters, my husband
Oh,
was in my corner to become a writer. And he got me an Apple computer when we got married because he was like, this is what you said you were going to do. Plus, I think he had visions of me like writing 3, 4 books a year and him retiring on the beach someplace. But he was the person that kept, every year he would say, so you're going to do that writing thing that you told me about when I first met you, 12 years
right.
ago, when I first met you 16 years ago. And finally, one day we were talking, and we were just talking about what we really wanted to do in life. And he said, you've always said you wanted to be a writer. And one day you're going to be 80 years old and you're going to be sitting on somebody's porch, rocking in someone's chair. And
Mm.
you're going to say, I wish I had done it.
Oh, wow.
And that scared me. That totally scared me. And that got my first book going. And that was in 1997. And I've been writing full time ever since then.
That is amazing. And I mean, just to think of having someone like that in your corner to give you that push, give you that
Yeah.
support, that is absolutely
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
That is.
he was, I mean, my, of course, my family has always been supportive. And then
Yes.
when I started writing, my dad was like, I'm so glad you're back to this. And he would be the one in the bookstores moving my books to the front, you know.
We all need that.
And you know, oh my goodness, my dad. And then when my dad passed away, my mother started doing it. And I was like, you're not supposed to do that. And she's like, well, your dad's not here anymore, so I have to do it. I was like, no, it wasn't his job description, but I think they thought it was.
I love that story that he moved the book. That is so sweet.
Oh my God. He would go into Walden Books in Green Acres Mall in New York and move the books. Like the people there started saying, hi, Mr. Christopher, you know, that kind of,
Because they knew.
they knew.
And so, oh, you have over 30 novels?
Over 30, yeah.
Oh, wow. So it literally after I found all, I was digging all through your website after I read this book because I was like, I gotta
Yeah.
find out. And then I found out that you were a sewer. I was like, okay, hold on a second. Now I'm gonna have to really go back and start off and get all of these
Yeah.
books and start reading. I'm going to talk about something else a little bit later. You know what I want to read,
Okay.
the series that I want to read that's going to be on.
Oh, yes. It comes
Yes,
on in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
I know. So anyway, let's move on. And so you always knew you wanted to be a writer.
Always
And
knew it.
always knew it. And you come to this point where you've written 30. So how did you come to write to co-author?
Marie. Yeah, to do a co. So that's a really good question because this is a really different part of my journey.
Yes.
Really different. I had co-authored books before. I had written with Rashonda Tate Billingsley. So I'd written 6 novels with her.
Okay.
But I had never heard of Marie Benedict. Well, the book, The Personal Librarian, was Marie's idea.
Okay.
Marie, she is a historical fiction writer, and she writes about women, and I always say she writes about women who've been lost inside the folds of history. And she heard about Belle de Costa Green when she went to the Morgan Library, and a docent there told her, J.P. Morgan didn't build this. This was
Oh,
built
wow.
by a woman. And when she found that out, she wanted to know who was the woman. So Marie did all this research on who was Belle de Costa Green. And in the beginning, she wasn't sure she was Black. She didn't know that. But when Marie discovered that she was Black, Marie said, there's no way. And I love this about Marie, who's a white author.
Yes.
She said that she's a fiction author and there's a lot of things that she can imagine as a fiction writer. But she could not imagine that. And she always felt that if Belle's story needed to be told, it needed to be told by a Black and a white woman. Right. And so she read my novel, Stand Your Ground. And when she read my novel, she asked her agent to reach out to my agent. And that was it. That's how we came in. I didn't know her. So let me tell you how funny it was. My agent sent me the proposals from Marie, and it was 3 pages, but it was single space. And when she first said to me, all my agent said is, I want you to look at this project. That's all she said. Nothing else, not about who, what, when, where, why, nothing. So the first thing I did was look up Marie Benedict. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. And I called my agent back and I said, has Marie ever seen a picture of me? Like, does she know? Is she looking for a different Victoria Christopher Murray? And she's like, no, she's looking for a Black author. I was like, okay, ooh, that was close. And then I started reading the proposal that on the first pages was just about J.P. Morgan. And I was not interested in J.P. Morgan at all. And so it took me a couple of months to read it. And finally, my agent said, it's 3 pages. You're not that busy. Find a way to finish it. And I did. And when I got to the last page and it was about Belle de Costa Green, I couldn't wait for us to connect.
Yes.
And it's been one of the best writing experiences of my life.
That is so lovely to hear.
Yeah, it really was.
I can appreciate, her thought process of, doing the research about Belle and then discovering that she was in fact Black and realizing that, that's not a story that she could tell. But then I guess from her passing, it would make sense that you guys would join and write the
Have to
story.
do, yeah, because
Yes, I didn't even think about it that way.
yeah, because it was interesting when we were on Good Morning America, because it was chosen as a Good Morning America book
That's how I
selection.
found out about it.
Oh, wow.
It's exactly how I
Well,
found out about it.
that's so cool. One of the things that Deb Roberts asked us was how do we get together? And Marie always tells how she wanted a Black author. But I think this story couldn't have been written by a Black author alone, because I don't know what it's like to live as white. I do
Yes,
know what it's like to pass. You can't be in our generation and not know someone who did, or
yes,
the stories. So we know what that was, and what,
right.
because I've met a lot of white people that had never heard of passing. But I don't know what it's like to live as white. I don't know that privilege. So
Yes.
the best way to tell Belle's story was to have a Black and white author.
I never thought about it that way until you said it. I mean, that's
Yeah,
perfect, actually.
I couldn't have done a good job alone. There were things I wouldn't have known
Hmm.
with her. But then there are things that Maria all says she knows she couldn't have written, because one of my favorite scenes in the book is when they go back to the grandmother's funeral, and the aunt, and one of the aunties said, "Go sit on that brown couch if it's not too black for you."
Right.
See, only a Black person could write that,
Only.
because
Only.
we all got that auntie. We
Yes,
all
we definitely do. Um, so how was the writing? We're gonna get into the story, but I have been
yeah.
looking forward to this for so long. But how was the writing process between you two?
It was wonderful.
Like the structure, how did you decide? Because you just said,
It was wonderful.
you just said you
It
weren't interested in the story about JP Morgan.
Yeah. So, but once I found out about Bell,
Hmm.
I knew that the story couldn't be told without J.P. Morgan.
Right.
So now suddenly I was interested in him. The people wanted it. I am so proud of this book, where I can tell you every word of this book we wrote together. Every word.
That's great.
What we would do was we would talk every chapter out. So, for example, we knew she had to be introduced from Princeton, because Princeton was the only Ivy League at the time that was still segregated.
Hmm.
The president of Princeton at the time was Woodrow Wilson, who would later become the president of the United States, and he would do
Yes.
the same. He would do the same thing. He didn't have any Black people at Princeton. He didn't have Black people sweeping the floors. He had nothing.
Hmm.
So we knew that we had to open up the book that way, so that when she went to JP Morgan, she was presented to him on a white platter.
Yes.
So we would talk through that. And then, depending if the scene was about Belle and her thoughts and her family, when she was Black, because every night that she laid her head down on a pillow, or every time she tried to comb her hair,
Hmm.
that's why she was Black. But then when there were things about the art world or the auctions, Marie's was a history major, and she knows lots about history and that kind of thing. Marie would write those chapters. So
Hmm.
I would write, then we would, after we finished writing our chapters, we would switch. And then I would fill in things in her chapters. Marie would fill in things in my chapters. And then we did the editing process totally together. And that's why when people say they can't tell who wrote what,
You cannot.
it
I
was
will say that.
because we wrote every word together.
Yeah, that's impressive. You cannot tell at all. I mean, you literally, if it did not have your names on the front, the cohesion, you would think that it's just
Yeah,
one author writing the book.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And when I say that, people always say that, and I'm so pleased with it. And then people will always bring up that funeral scene, and they say, "Well, except for that part, Victoria, we know that when you wrote, go sit on that brown couch if it's
That
not
you
too
wrote
black."
that. That you definitely wrote that. Um, so Marie does this research. Did you do any research on your own just to find
Yes.
out a little bit more about her? Because I know I
Oh,
went
I
down the
had
complete
to.
rabbit hole when I finished. I just could
Yes.
not
You can't
believe.
stop. You can't stop.
I could not believe it because everyone knows JP Morgan. I mean, you may not know him like
Everybody.
you know the name JP Morgan.
Everybody.
Everybody.
And didn't know a black woman helped him get that name.
I
Okay.
was blown away. Like literally, I was like,
Yeah.
what? I said, the
And
librarian.
there wasn't a lot of information on her. So we both read the it's like a 600-page biography called An Illuminated Life, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like the definitive biography on Belda Costa Green. And then we did all of the kind of research. But here's the thing that's so interesting about historical fiction research. And this is what you cannot, like, I would have thought I would have spent 6 months researching and then I sit down and write.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what you don't know until you don't know it.
Oh.
So, for example, writing the very first chapter, and we're going to have her at Princeton, walking along Princeton. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. I know what Princeton looked like now, but what did it look like in
Back then.
1907? So I had to stop and start looking at Princeton and the arch there on the, and just what did it look like? What would she have worn to work? What
Right.
kind of, and then when she goes home to New York, it took me like 5 hours to find out how she would have gotten from Princeton to New York,
Mm-hmm.
how much the train ride would have cost. And then once she got into Grand Central, how would she have gotten all the way up to Amsterdam?
Right.
And so, but like you said, you go down these rabbit holes
Yes.
because you get so fascinated with all of that. And so then I could finish writing the scene. But I would have never known to research that at the beginning of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Or when she went to the Vanderbilt ball, I found a floor plan of the Vanderbilt mansion at that
Mm-hmm.
time. So that when she was walking through, we took her through all the rooms that were on the floor plan. We didn't know what she would wear, what kind of staff would be there. And then the funniest thing about that scene for me that drove me nuts was they would have music. If people were dancing, they had to have music.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they didn't have boom boxes, so who showed up with the music? They didn't have a DJ. And so it was just fascinating. I'm in love with historical fiction because of that.
I absolutely love historical fiction. And this book is just, so for your people that are just popping in, we're talking to Victoria Christopher Murray about The Personal Librarian. And I always say, JP Morgan has a personal librarian who is Black but passes as white. Like who would ever?
Who knew?
Who
Who
knew?
knew? Or he didn't know.
He didn't know. Did he know?
He didn't know.
He did not.
She came to him on a white platter. She came
Yes,
to him on
because
a
she
white
came
platter.
from she met his nephew.
His nephew at Princeton.
Yes.
At Princeton, where Woodrow Wilson wouldn't have had anybody Black working there. Now, were there rumors? There were lots of rumors, but I'm
yes.
not sure the rumors were, is she Black or white? Because at that time, there wasn't biracial mixed race.
Mm-hmm.
There was mulatto, but people weren't talking about that up in New York. But they were saying, what is she? Because her skin is dusky, her hair is. So they weren't saying Black. They were like, what is she? Is she Cuban? Is she really Italian? They were looking to look down upon her for something. What is she? They would say she's exotic looking, those kinds of things. So there were rumors, but I can't imagine a man like J.P. Morgan, who was saving the United States twice. I can't imagine him, I can't imagine somebody walking up to him and saying, bruh, I think she might be Black. I just can't imagine that. I don't think he sat around with people like that. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. But so now that it's out and this book is out and people are talking about it, has there been any reaction from any of the descendants or?
Yeah. So No, we haven't been able, we were looking for, after we write the book, we don't
Mhm.
mind looking for people because before we don't. We're not writing a biography.
Right.
And so if you go to people before, they're going to be like, well, they didn't really do this and they didn't really do that. But afterwards, we were trying to find out because we know her two older sisters didn't have children either.
Mhm.
And there could be lots of reasons for it. I want to believe that Black people know anything can pop out. And if you're passing as white,
Yes.
you don't know what the
If
baby's
it's not
going to
gonna
look like.
grab back deep down and come, yes,
And it don't even have to be that deep. Remember
it
what happened
doesn't.
with Megan and we don't know who said to her the baby
How
might be
dark the
too
baby's
dark.
gonna be.
Yeah, but even they knew. And so they didn't have children, but her youngest sister Teddy
Mhm.
had two children. One we had put in the book and then we took out because her youngest sister Teddy had a son named Bobby that Belle ended up raising. Belle ended up
Mhm.
adopting and raising, and we had to take it out because it took us too far away from Belle's path. We would have had to get into Teddy's story, and so he passed away. The son passed. Bobby passed away before Belle did in World War II. But then Teddy had another child who she named Belle, who passed away in 2005.
Okay.
So she passed away. So we didn't know if she had any children. So since we did the book, a historian reached out to me saying that she had read The Personal Librarian and she shared it with that Belle's two children.
Oh.
So we do know that they did know they were Black. I didn't ask how were they living, none of my
Oh.
business.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. I just.
Yeah. Then we did, this is a funny story. Marie and I did a book club for the Morgan Library, for their board of directors. And because they were just so fat, because they have the books in there and everything. They have been so supportive.
Oh, that's
And
great.
so it was a small book club, maybe about 10, 12 of them. And most, everybody a little older, they're on the board. And there was this one guy there who was much older. Um, and you could tell he was in his 80s, 90s, and he just kept laughing. And so when it came to his turn to talk, he said, this book was a hoot. And I was like, okay, well, that wasn't what we were going for, but
Right.
okay. And he said, but you got something wrong. He said, you got two things wrong. He said, Anne was much nicer than we portrayed her in the book.
Mhm.
And he said, Jack was like a jackass.
Oh.
So we're like, okay, that's funny, ha ha ha. And then we discovered that he was Jack's grandson.
Oh my goodness.
So he was J.P. Morgan's great grandson.
Oh
And he
wow.
loved the book, but he was like, this book was a hoot. And I was like, okay, I don't know the funny parts, but okay.
I mean, because I was curious to know how the Morgan side felt about the fact that she actually is Black, was
Yeah,
Black.
I think in this day and age, they're fine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this young man loved the book. They have found out it's been recently because she passed away in 1950,
Mm-hmm.
and people still didn't know she was Black. It wasn't until people were suspecting and things, but then the one connection that could never be made was between her and her father.
That's what my next question was, her dad, because he was this
He was
powerhouse.
he was as famous as Frederick Douglass in his
Yes.
time.
So let's talk about him. I mean, this is like, oh my gosh, her dad.
Richard T. Greener should be on the tips of all of our tongue.
I mean,
He
he
should be
was,
somebody that we knew about. He was as famous as Frederick Douglass. He was a brilliant orator. He wrote these great pieces pushing civil rights. He wrote
yes.
something called the White Problem, where
Mm-hmm.
he was explaining. So think about this. This was like in 1907. He was explaining to white people that racism was not the problem of Black people. It was the problem of white people who refused to recognize the greatness in Black people.
Yes.
And then he just went through a whole list. This is in 1907, a whole list of all the things that Black people had done. and that people just weren't willing to recognize it. And he was the first Black man to graduate from Harvard. He was the
Hmm.
dean of the Howard Law School at one point.
Yes.
He was an ambassador to Russia, I believe, appointed by President McKinley, I think. I can't remember. So he had all of this. And the reason we don't know his name and we know Frederick Douglass's name is that when Frederick Douglass passed away, his wife made sure his legacy continued.
Hmm.
Richard didn't have anyone.
He did not, because the wife left to. And so let's talk
Yeah.
about that, because she made this decision to leave and go to New York
Yes.
and take the kids, because she wanted them to pass everyone.
Yeah.
But he did
Yeah.
not want to do that.
Yeah. He didn't want to do that because he was living a whole life fighting for equal rights for Black people.
Right.
And that they were already living in New York. But what had happened was they were in South Carolina
Hmm.
when because she was in the civil rights fight with him. She reminded me of Coretta Scott King,
Hmm.
just in there with him, supporting him, pushing him, encouraging him, until they were run out of South Carolina under the threat of lynching.
Hmm.
And I think that scared her. I
Yes.
think that really just scared everything inside of her. And she said, we tried to fight. I think her point was it would be different if I didn't try to fight. But I tried to fight and we lost. So now let's use what we have.
Hmm.
And he's like, no, I want the best for our kids too, but I'm going to keep doing it by fighting. I'm
Yeah.
not going to give up. I'm not going to give in. And then that's when they separated.
Yeah. And so what do you, I know you touched on it a little bit, but like the dad watching her transition, because she became, you know what I thought about during this week of the confirmation hearings? I kind of thought about
Wow.
Judge
Belle.
Jackson and
Whew.
Bill Costa Green being in these white dominated spaces, white
Yeah.
male dominated spaces. So the art world at that time, not to mention, that she was Black and no one knew, but she was a woman.
She was a woman. And
Right.
she couldn't even vote. She didn't even
Right.
have the right to vote. And she had all
Yes.
that power. She had
Mm-hmm.
all that power. So she couldn't even do something as basic as that. The women weren't even living on their own. Women
No.
had no rights. And she became one of the most powerful people, probably the most powerful person in the art world that time, one of the most powerful people in New York. She
Yes.
was, I used to say she was an uptown and a downtown girl because on Friday night she'd be hanging with the Rockefellers, and then on Saturday, she'd be down in Greenwich Village smoking cigarettes and drinking dark beer. I mean, she talk about code switching. She knew exactly what to do.
I mean, what a life, though. I
What a
think,
life.
and then to think that what a life, and she was a Black woman,
She was a Black
and she
woman.
created, like, she curated the best art.
The best. If anybody has a chance to go to New York and to see that, you should go see it.
And I've been to
It
New York a million
is
times and never had the interest of going, but now I'm
now,
definitely going to
and
go
it's
back to
not
go.
a and it's not a big, you hear library and you're thinking of, 5 stories. And what happened was, it's like if you have a library in your house, like you and I do, and you run out of space. When we run out of space, we start stacking the books on top of each other and things like that. He bought the lot next door to his house, and he built a 4-room building where he could have an office. He knew he was going to have an assistant. He wanted a grand library. I think it's like 4 stories. It's amazing. And then the rotunda, which is just beautiful. And so it was private. It was a private collection. It's like the collections that we have in our home of our
Hmm.
books. We don't want people just coming in and streaming all of the art that he was collecting. And she knew how valuable what he was doing. He has some of the first Bibles ever printed,
Hmm.
ever printed.
I mean, she's going
And so,
overseas and doing all this mingling and curating with some of the top art dealers, directors, creators in Europe,
in the world,
in
yep,
the world.
yeah. in the world. And she was stealing, not stealing in terms of, stealing, but she was taking pieces from them.
Yes. She was smart. She was
Taking
crafty.
piece. You have to be. She was a Black woman.
I mean, she was crafty. She was resilient. I just loved everything about the story. I just could not believe that she was a black woman and that we didn't know anything about her.
She was a Black woman, and the thing that I love about your enthusiasm with the book is that you understand she was a Black woman, not wanting to be white to be white.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother had them passing to be equal.
Yes.
There was that talk that her mother had with her that I had hoped that everybody got, where her mother said to her, I had to join a group of people that I hated to protect you.
Mm-hmm.
So don't you mess this up.
Right.
I joined a group of people that I abhorred, totally abhor them. But I did it for you. So don't be messing this up now.
And she was tough.
Yep.
Wow.
She was her mother was really tough. Her mother knew what had to be done. She was trying to save her children's life. You know what was so interesting? Marie and I edited this book during the summer of 2020. We
Mm-hmm.
began our edits just a few weeks before George Floyd was lynched.
Mm-hmm.
And I told, even though I completely understood what Genevieve was doing, I told Marie, if you want to understand why she was passing, if she came back 100 years and landed to today, she would say, this is what I was talking
Yes.
about. I did not want my children to end up on the wrong side of a cop's knee.
Yes.
That's
Absolutely.
She wasn't doing it for privilege because if you remember, the book opens, they're as poor as anybody.
Yes. But so what about the family? They had family in DC.
DC, yes. Yes.
Okay.
And that's another reason why they weren't passing because they wanted to be white. They were from the Fleet, her mother's side of the family were free Blacks for generations. For generations, they had been free. And they were all educated doctors,
Yes.
engineers, teachers, but and they were all very fair, the same complexion. But her mother went to South Carolina and got scared.
Yes.
And her mother saw what was Reconstruction. Her mother saw the turning of it. It's going to be turning around. And I think her mother Genevieve just wasn't sure how far back were we going to go. That's a
Right.
question we need to be asking
I was
ourselves
getting ready to say,
today.
I feel like that now. How far back are we going to go?
We don't, and so she didn't know, were they going to go back to slavery? So should she protect her children all the way?
I mean,
Because it's not a question we need to be asking. How far back are we? We're going backwards. How
yes.
far back are we going to go?
Yeah. It's such an amazing story. I think I literally, anytime somebody asks me, oh, what should I read? I'm like, the personal librarian. I
Oh,
have
thank
recommended it to so
you.
many people, and every single person has come back to me and said, wow. Like I had
Well,
no
thank
idea.
you. No idea. No
No
idea.
idea.
Well, you know what? I was telling someone today, I'm not about the personal librarian, but I was coaching somebody about writing. He wants to be a writer. And I always say that if you want your readers to cry, you have to cry first.
Mm,
If you want your readers to laugh, you have to laugh first. When you're
right.
writing, you have to laugh first. So I think what happened with this book is I was shocked first. So every time y'all were shocked, just know that I was shocked way before y'all.
Oh my goodness. Someone asked in the comments, how long did it take for you guys to write the book?
That's a good question. About a year.
Oh,
It
that's
took
all
about a
okay.
year. That's not that long. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not that long. It took because what we did very quickly, we spent a couple of months reading the biography, looking up other stuff, but then I was so anxious to write, and so was Marie. And as I said, most of the research is going to be done as you're writing because you
Yes.
don't know what you don't know.
Right.
You know?
And so, how has
Yeah.
the journey been? Because I mean, how have you guys felt about the reception? Because I know
I
like I've
have
said a
no
million times,
idea.
I absolutely love the book.
I
I'm like a big advocate.
know.
I'm not bigger than Good Morning America, but I am a
You,
huge
I know
advocate
you are. Oh, I
of
know
the
you
book.
are. You know what's so interesting? I knew, I knew it was going to do well.
Hmm.
I didn't know how well, but I knew the first thing was our publisher was very excited about it,
Yes.
and the book idea went to auction, so there were several publishers who were interested.
Uh-huh.
So that was a little bit of a hint, like maybe there's going to be some people interested in this. Then I knew that it was going to do well, and I don't even know how I'm going to define well. Probably better than my books, but I did not know what what it has done. I did not expect this. And I because one thing is I knew my readers would come along with me, but I wondered if they would say, "Oh, this is too different."
Hmm.
My readers are like, "So when's your next?" My readers are saying, "When's your next historical fiction coming out, Victoria?"
That's one of my questions. I'm like, what's next? Like, what's the next historical fiction book?
Yeah,
But before
yeah.
we go to that, I want to talk about Al Roker and Deborah.
Yes.
Because people are asking everyone in the conference, this should be a movie. This should be. So tell us what's coming down.
Yes. So Al Roker has Al Roker Entertainment, and he optioned this to become a mini series, not just a movie, which I really appreciate because a movie would be taking a 300-page book and cutting it down to 90 pages for a
Right.
movie. Now with a mini series, you could get the fullness and the richness of the whole book. And Deb Roberts is going to be an executive producer. So are we, but she's going to be like a real one on there. And this, I think this might be one of her first projects.
It's
But
going to be amazing.
it's going to be freaking amazing.
I'm watching
Because
The Gilded Age, and every time I watch it, I think
everybody
about
says
this.
that.
I think
I
about this book.
Everybody's telling me I need to watch it. Everybody's saying that. But yeah,
Every
so
time I
we're
see it, I think about this book. I think about how the costumes, how the setting's going to be. I think about all of that. I think about your book. Definitely.
yeah, and you know they're going to do a great job with
They're going to do
it.
a fantastic job.
Their enthusiasm for this book, the three of y'all could do this movie because it is just amazing. I just feel there are no words to describe it. How I it Beyond blessed doesn't even describe it well enough for me. Because I'm just so happy.
Yeah, I'm happy for you. I just think it's absolutely phenomenal. Anyone in the comments, if you have not read The Personal Librarian, it was our March pick. You can still read it. I highly, highly recommend it. If you like audiobooks, the audiobook is fantastic.
Isn't it amazing? Robin Miles
She's
is
incredible.
just off. She does whatever book she does, go listen to her.
Yes, that's what I do. I love if she's narrating, I am listening. But
Just go listen. Go.
yes. So how would it be wonderful to see Jamise on location for the miniseries? I'll be an
That would be
extra.
perfect. Shoot. Don't let them ask us for any extras. You're gonna be right there.
I'll be an extra
You'll
in the
be right
background.
there.
Let
That's
me
what we
see.
should have it. We should have all the people that love the book so much because you would know how to walk around and during that time.
So someone asked, will you do any more collabs in the future with Marie?
Yes, we are. Our next book is due. We have like 10 in mind. So this is going on for a long
I
time.
thought I had read somewhere that you guys were working on another book together.
Yes, this next book is due in like 2 weeks. So pray for me.
I
Really
will.
pray for me. Because Marie writes much faster than me. But our next book is the friendship. And it's really interesting, but you'll see what I'm saying. It's the friendship between Eleanor Roosevelt
Yes.
and Mary McLeod Bethune.
I mean, I,
Wait a minute.
Thora.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I love The Personal Librarian. I really do. The Personal Librarian has nothing on this book because this book is about two women who changed the world through
Yes.
their friendship. There are things that FDR gets credit for, that it was Mary and Eleanor. And they weren't friends, they were best friends.
Yes.
And I like to look at Eleanor as the first ally, because she would do things like invite Mary to a restaurant where she knew they didn't take Black people, but who was going to tell her no?
Right.
Then she would ask for the front table in front of the window. Who was going to tell her no? Then she called the newspapers so that the picture of her and Mary would be on a front page, because she felt it was very important for people to know their friendship. Not that this wasn't their friendship.
Yeah.
And it gave Marie and I to have the characters have some deep conversations about race.
And I love that. I mean, because given the setting and the time, you can't get around that. There's a lot of times when people co-author books with different, black and white, that they tiptoe around those subjects, and you can't tiptoe around those subjects.
We have them as friends because this is what friends do.
Yes.
And this is what Marie and I have done, where you say to each other, that's not right. You cannot do that. There was a part in the book where I had Eleanor saying to Mary, that's not right. And so Marie wanted to pull it back a little bit, because she was like, I don't want her to lecture Mary. No, they were friends. They were friends who could say to each other. And I know how Mary would have received that kind of conversation. So I'm loving this book because they have some real deep, and one of the reasons they have a deep conversations about race is because FDR refused to sign the anti-lynching bill.
And look where we are now.
Look where we are now.
How many years later, and you just signed it?
Crazy?
Isn't that crazy? Beyond, and people seem to think that it was like so long ago, and I'm thinking like, no, it's not that long ago.
It wasn't.
Look where we are now. We just signed.
Yeah. And one of his lines, FDR's lines, was, I really hate lynching, but I can't be concerned about the 90 men a year who get lynched when I have to be concerned about the white Southern Democrats.
Yeah, I cannot wait for this book. When is it coming out?
It won't be out till next summer.
Okay. So next summer.
Yeah, so next summer.
Next summer for sure. Next summer. So can we talk about, because I now have four books I have to read, and they are, is it Wrath, Greed, Envy, and Lust?
Yes. So I'm writing the 7 Deadly Sins series, and the books became optioned to become movies back in 2018. And this is how amazing it was. The books became optioned, and I hadn't even written them yet. Lifetime just went ahead, did it with me. So I was happy about that. And so Lust and Envy came on Lifetime last April. Okay. So you could probably find them on demand.
Okay.
And Lifetime and the script writers and the producers, Sean Robinson and T.D. Jakes and Derek Williams, did an amazing job with the last 2 movies, keeping them close to the books.
Yes.
But it was during COVID, so I didn't get a chance to go to the set. But for Wrath and Greed, I got a chance to be on the set.
And that's Michelle Williams is in Wrath.
Michelle Williams, and her mother is Tina Knowles.
Yes.
So isn't that interesting?
You have a great cast in both of these.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And then the cast and Romeo Miller is in Wrath, and I was like, little Romeo, how's that gonna work?
Yes.
Well, he ain't little Romeo no more.
No, he's not.
He's not, and he's an amazing. I'm not kidding. I'm not just saying this. He's an amazing actor.
Yes.
And I couldn't figure that out. But then Eric Benet is in Greed. He's an amazing actor. Yeah. And there may be something that singing they're not singing in the movie, but I mean, when they're singing their songs, they're taking on characters.
Right.
Exactly.
And
yeah. Yeah. So Well, I don't know, but they're great. So those will be on April 16th is Wrath. And then the next Saturday, April 23rd, is Greed.
Okay, good. Yeah, somebody said, wait, where have I been? I feel the same way. Someone says, where have I been? I feel the same way. But you know what? I think
Oh,
like things come to you when they're supposed to. So I'm so happy to
yes.
have discovered you and to have found you. I just, it's such a
Oh,
blessing.
thank
And
you.
I'm excited to
Oh,
go back
well,
and
thank you.
read. And
Thank you for all of this.
I can't wait to see what's next. But I know for
Yes.
sure I got to have you on my literary wind down series where I can have a glass of wine and talk about all the
Oh,
things, because I'm definitely going to have you on Spines and Vines for sure.
okay, yeah, but we got to do because I need a glass of wine trying to get on, and you trying to hear me. I needed the whole bottle because I sent you a message saying I'm getting on early because I'm not good at this,
It was
and
perfectly
then I
fine.
proved it.
It was perfect. I'm not going to keep you. I answered the questions, but I'm definitely going to reach out and talk to you about having you on Spines and Vines, because I
Oh, I
just
would
think
love to.
I reach different people with each account, and I
Okay.
just feel like the story, this Belle DaCosta Green, and then um, the new book, I just, and Mary McLeod
Yeah.
Bethune is just so amazing, and
Oh, let
just
me tell you something. So she was probably the first famous person I knew, like as a little girl. Like the first, not know personally, but the first famous person I had looked up and read about. Because I remember being like 10 and wanting to go to Bethune Cookman,
that's
just,
what my son graduated from, Bethune Cookman.
oh my God.
Yes.
And
And
so
so, and he went there
I
not knowing
wanted,
a thing, just because he's not learning about Mary McLeod Bethune in his school. And so when he
yeah,
went there, I was like,
right.
you need to understand the history,
Well, he was
behind.
passing her house every day. He was
Yes.
passing her house because I went down there and everything for research. But everything I thought I knew, we didn't know nothing about this woman. She was probably the most powerful African American in the country
Mm-hmm.
from like 1930 to 1950. The
Yes.
most powerful woman.
Yeah.
And I mean, not woman, black person in the
Yes.
country.
Yeah. Got us
And
to the
so
march.
she changed some things.
Yes, you did. So I'm
She
so
was,
looking forward to that. I cannot wait. Definitely.
yeah, we're very excited. So it's due in about 2 weeks, but we're gonna get it done.
You're going to get it done, and we are all going to pre-order when it comes times to pre-order. We'll be right there waiting
Yes.
on it. But thank you so much for spending your Saturday with us. It has been such a joy. It really
Oh, this
has.
has been wonderful. You had great questions, but I did expected no less. I
Thank you.
expected
Thank
no
you so
less.
much. And
This is
I don't know
this
if
is
you
what
know
I
this.
expected.
We both were. I wasn't able to attend in person. I submitted a video, but I saw your name on Houston alumni chapter that did the author tour they did back in October.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did. I
Yes.
saw that. So anyway, have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I will be in
Thank you.
touch about having you on Spines and Vines, because we definitely will be chatting.
Thank you. And the next time I'll have my niece sitting next to me so that we get on and it's no issue.
It's okay. It was perfectly fine. This was amazing. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank
Talk to you later. Bye
you. Have
bye.
a
Thank
great
you guys.
Saturday, everyone.
Bye bye.